Hi guys, this is another video as part of the Serenade of Autumn release from Spellbinders for October 2023. This is the slimline card I did, so check that video out. I used part of the new sealed fall collection, some ribbon, the new sunflower sealed wax seal, and some sentiments, and the sunflower slimline background. So today we are going to play with the layered sunflower stencil. To prep, I have sprayed a little bit of pixie spray on there. This is what it's going to look like when we're done, but today we're going to use some of the Lisa Horton interference inks. I know a lot of you guys got them. So we have 2 yellows, 2 greens, and 2 browns. I have a little piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4 cardstock here. It's just hammer mill cardstock. And there really isn't any numbers or instructions on here, but I'm telling you guys, this is super easy to do. I'm actually going to start in the top left here, which is going to be the outer layer of the flowers. And I'm really going to just kind of put them in the middle of my card. Let me stop some of that glare there. So there are little registration bubbles in the corners. If you wanted to use them, you could. But this is a really, really simple, easy to layer set. Okay, just trying to make sure I have enough room for my greenery. Okay, all right, and then just using that little pixie spray to hold the stencil down. So I have a little green blending brush. Oh, sorry, we need yellow first. So we're going to start with Lemon Candy, which is the lighter yellow. Remember, these are pigment inks and they have some shimmer in them, so you will see that pop through when we're done here, and it really makes it just, I don't know, makes it stand out. It's cool. Is that a piece of dog hair? It's probably a piece of dog hair stuck under my stencil. Don't be surprised if that happens. And it only started happening since I got my dachshund, because my other dog, he doesn't really shed. All right, so that's layer 1. If you wanted to, you could use a pencil and just kind of mark the registration marks, but I'm telling you guys, this is so easy, you don't even need to do that. And that is a piece of dog hair on the bottom of my stencil. No surprise there. All right, at this point, if you wanted to wipe your stencil, you could. I'm going to keep going. This is the second one, and you can see when you line it up that it's going to fill in like the in-between areas. So all you're going to do is line that up so that the colors that you just stenciled are covered, and that the areas that have not been stenciled are going to be left white. Again, if you are new to layered stenciling, you may want to use the registration marks and just mark those with little pencils. I do a lot of layers, and it's very freeing. I mean, because no one's going to know if you don't line it up correctly. I mean, really. It helps if you can stick your head right over it. I can't do that because of the camera. All right, I got it. Right there. Okay, so for our second layer yellow, we're going to use Sweet Treat. And I'm going to use the same brush. And this is just a more darker golden yellow. The other one was more like a lemony yellow. And I always start with a lighter color and introduce the darker color, because a lot of times the darker color will lay over the first color. And so you want to layer it. That's why they're called layering stencils. All right. Those are our 2 yellows. Now we're going to move on to the greenery. Which is this one in the corner. You can see how beautiful my flowers are, and then you'll see as I tilt it, the shimmer from the ink starts to shine and pop through. Can you see that? Very pretty. All right, so now we're going to go in with layer 3, which is this green, and you're just going to make sure your flowers are in the center there. And this whole flower is going to get covered. So this middle space is going to be greenery. So you're going to use the stencil to mask what you've already done. In other words, cover up what you've already done. That's how you line this up, is you just cover up all of that yellow so that whatever is exposed will be in green. Okay, and then we're going to use Magic Garden for our first layer of green. I like to use brushes when I'm doing layering stencils because the blending tools, the sponges, sometimes can get caught up in the stencil and might lift the stencil or rip the sponges. So I do like using brushes. These are inexpensive brushes that I have on my Amazon shop, or you can pick up the Spellbinders brushes, whatever brushes you have. I have not noticed any kind of significant difference in any of the different brush brands. And I have all different brands of brushes. I have expensive ones and I have the cheapy ones. And really, it's just a matter of preference. There really is not a major difference in brushes. So I don't think you need to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on super name brand brushes, to be honest with you. Okay. All right. So that's layer 3, which is the first layer of green. All right. Now we're going to move over. So this is going to be the accent on your flower. So you're actually going to turn the stencil so that it angles. So again, you're masking the smaller and the larger, the centers of the flower. So you're going to turn your stencil so that those centers are masked. And you're going to line up those lines. They're kind of come out from the center of your flowers. All right, and then go back in with your darker yellow, the Sweet Treat for this one. And we're just going to fill in those lines. This is going to give us a little bit more depth and dimension in our petals. If you don't think your yellow is dark enough, you'd also go with like a lighter orange. All right, now it's going to be the same thing with the stencil tilted. Look how pretty that is. We're going to add this next one down. And there's 2 colors we're going to use here. We are going to use the lighter brown in the centers. So again, using the stencil to make sure that it is lined up over the center area. Okay, so in this area, we're going to use brown. On the outer area, we're going to use our second green, which is Summer Garden. So I'm going to start with the green. And we're just accenting our leaves. That's all we're doing here on the green. Careful we don't get it in the center. And because I'm using pigment inks, I want to be careful when I am stenciling the next layer that I don't touch the inks, because pigment inks tend to stay wet a little longer and I don't want them moving. Dye inks soak in a little faster. So for the center browns, we're going to use our first brown is Milk Chocolate. Very lightly, going to use that around the center here. Okay, and then our last layer, you got it, is the bottom right corner of the stencil. And again, we're going to shift the stencil so that the smaller circle is up and the larger circle is down, just in the center Very, very easy to line up. And our darkest brown is called Royal Truffle. Same brush. And that's it. That's how easy it is to layer this. Now, this isn't, you know, a realistic looking layered stencil, but it's still a very pretty stencil. And you can see here, this is just using regular inks. I think I used either my Catherine Pooler or my Simon Says Stamp inks. And this is using the shimmer ink, so you can see when the light hits it that those leaves and petals kind of have a slight mica shimmer to them. Very pretty. Now, what I want to do is make these two into cards. So, really simple here. I have some gold glitter cardstock here, and this is going to serve two purposes. So, the first thing is, it's going to be our matte layer. So, we need to make sure that we cut our card panels down to 5 1/4 by 4, so there's just a slight edge where that gold is going to peek through. So 5 1/4 by 4. Right to the edge of the flower there. Okay. Then I'm going to cut my gold panels down to 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So these should be 5 1/2 already, which they are. So now I'm going to cut them to 4 1/4. So this will be my matte layer. Now, since this is the matte layer, the whole center is going to be covered up, and I don't want to waste that. So I have some of the sentiments here. You already saw me use Thankful. So I'm going to cut the shadow dies out here. So this one's going to say Happy Birthday, and this one is going to say Grateful. So I'm going to pull my platinum in and just cut the centers out. So we can still use the matte layer, but we're not wasting it. We're going to get those shadow layers. So I have my platinum here. I have base plate A and B. Then I have the Magic Mat from Scrapbook.com and my top cutting plate. Now remember, you can buy clear cutting plates, you can buy the hot pink cutting plates, and now they have the new teal cutting plates. So I am waiting for that to come in. You can't get the teal platinum anymore. This was a limited edition that they no longer offer, but you can get teal cutting plates. So now my shadow layers cut out beautifully. That's for Happy Birthday. We have a matte layer, so we'll be able to cover that up, no problem. Let's do the same thing for Grateful. All right, and then we need to cut out our actual words. So I think I want to use like a dark chocolate brown maybe. Let's see what we have here. Oh, we have black. Black will work too. So we're going to cut out Happy Birthday and Grateful. And remember, when you're cutting your dies, you don't want to go across your rolling pin because it'll cause, or your rolling pin, your rollers on your die cutting machine. So cut long ways. That way it's a little easier for the machine to cut all the way through. And these are super fine scripty kind of fonts. So sometimes I put adhesive on here first and then die cut them, and you might want to cut them through twice, but we're just going to use a fine adhesive tip. And I'm going to run it one more time for good measure. we have happy birthday. This is extra thick cardstock that was in my pile. Come on, let go. My L is not grateful. It doesn't want to let go. Right in the very end of the tail there. This is why we get the super fine scissors out and we snip it off. There we go. Grateful. And what's going on with happy? Happy is just not happy. There's too many loops. It's like holding hands. It doesn't want to release. I'm going to cut that one again. I'm not going to fight with it. All right, so I'm going to poke through the centers of the layers. I love this bouncy script. Can never write that way, but I can cut a die and the die will look good. This is why I do usually try to remember to put adhesive on the back. And then when I run it through, I'll cut it a few times because then the adhesive is stuck on the back and I don't have to worry about getting any fine, areas of glue, but it'll be fine. Now the Toolin one has that little brush on there. You could just use that, but I don't feel like digging that out. It's just pure laziness on my part. Okay, so we have grateful, we have birthday. Let me cut happy out one more time. I don't feel like fighting with happy. He's not so happy. I mean, I could. I think he's cut all the way through. It's just. Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. I don't deal with that thing. All right, we're going to just run it through again. Because I'm a lazy crafter. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you just got to give it a little extra. Look at that. Happy was so happy I did that, he popped right out. See? That's what happens when you use extra thick cardstock. Alright, so just going to pop out the little centers there. And then we're going to glue all of this together. So we have our shadow layers here. Birthday, happy, grateful. I'm going to use some liquid adhesive. I'm going to grab my little tweezers, my little reverse tweezers. So poke all of this through. All right. That's better. And I like using a strong liquid adhesive that's going to dry quickly, especially since we're sticking this to glitter paper. You want a strong liquid adhesive. And you want to make sure you don't put it on upside down. Okay, look at that. And then we're going to put a big block over it. Now, I know a lot of influencers, crafters, like to multiple cut these and layer them so that they stand up and they're thicker. You can also do that. I'm just not one of those people. But you do what works best for you. Okay. Now, while these are drying, which won't take very long, this glue dries very quickly, very strong. We're going to assemble the card bases. Okay. So, we have our card base here. These are both top folding card bases. I'm going to put the gold matte piece down first. The ones that we cut the letters out of the center. Because no one's going to know that. Then I'm going to put my sunflower stenciled layer over top of that. So you have that little bit of gold peeking through. And it makes a really simple image just pop by adding that little bit of glitter. Okay, now we just add our sentiments. So for this one I'm going to do grateful. Look at that. Simple. And then this one we'll do happy birthday. I hope that you are subscribed to my channel so that you can see the other beautiful things I have made with this Serenade of Autumn collection from Spellbinders. They're all on the website. Go check them out. I will put the links down below. So many beautiful things here. Got our happy birthday. And we do have sequins. Let's add a couple of those as well. This one also has little iridescent butterflies, which are really pretty too. And that's all there is to it. So very simple. If you wanting to do and learn a little bit more with layered stencils, go check this out over at Spellbinders. Very easy to do. They also have the new glitter cardstock in stock, so you can go check that out. The new cutting plates and this new beautiful autumn collection. If you had fun watching me make these 2 cards, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.